No One Left Behind is more than a standard we all live up to. It is a way of life. It is part of our mission. If you or someone you know finds themselves struggling with their mental health, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 on your mobile phone or text 838-255 to speak or chat with a qualified counselor. Hello, Run for the Wall family, and welcome to episode 16 of the Run for the Wall podcast. I'm Ty, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Boots. Hey, Boots.
Hey, Hitch. How are you? I like your hair.
Thanks.
You got to show that off.
There we go. It took a while. Boots wanted to record yesterday. I said, have a hair appointment.
Yeah, it took all day, didn't it?
And I was like, it's going to take like all day.
Hey, I got one for you. What's this? Can you hear that?
I can hear it.
You know what that is? That's May knocking on the door.
It sure is. It is right around the corner. But first things first, this week we are joined by two special guests, Gwyn and Jim Frost. How are y'all doing this morning? Awesome.
Very good.
Yeah, otherwise known as the mayor and the first lady.
Yeah, but we'll
get into that later.
Before we jump into today's episode, if this is your first time with us and you're wondering like, hey, what is Run for the Wall? Well, Run for the Wall is the largest, longest, and oldest cross-country motorcycle run in the U.S. in support of military and veterans, those KIA, MIA, and POWs. And we're just here to continue doing our part via the podcast. So that's us.
And today, as we sit here and record this, it's a Thursday actually. We're 34 days until Kickstands Up.
Yep.
And this will drop next Wednesday. So we'll be less than a month by the time this thing drops.
And this is episode 16. And, you know, it should be dropping on the 16th. Fun fact.
Yes, that's true. 16 on the 16th. All right, let's get into it because we got a lot of stuff to get through today, and I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Fuller Law, as always. Chad Fuller supports Run for the Wall, and if you get yourself into a legal bind or motorcycle accident, give them a call at 1-855-FULLER-LAW or find them on the internet at fullerlawforriders.com. Also, we want to give a shout out to the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau for rolling out the red carpet. As you all know, Run for the Wall starts in Ontario, California, and goes to Washington, D.C. And we do a lot of stuff in Ontario. We got a lot of meetings for all three coast-to-coast routes. Midway is going to leave on Tuesday, the 13th, and Southern and Central are going to leave on Wednesday, the 14th. And then all of the stuff that happens in Ontario is fully supported by the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So thank you all for that. We got some hydration sponsors. We're getting close to the Run for the Wall, and I'm assuming that most people have been following along. But for those who are listening to the first time, we have hydration trailers that follow each of the routes, and they're filled with water and electrolytes, energy drinks, snacks. And those snacks are donated by two really strong supporters of Run for the Wall. One is PepsiCo. The other is Coca-Cola. So we really thank you all for that. We picked up another new sponsor this year, and I got to give a shout out to AMSOIL, motor oils, synthetic motor oils. It's the best I use in all my vehicles, and AMSOIL has been very, very generous to Run for the Wall. And if you want to pick up some AMSOIL product, go see the merchandise trailers. They'll be at the Elks in Ontario, and they'll be at almost every single stop along the way in all the routes. And we've got a limited supply of AMSOIL products for sale at less than cost. So go check them out. And if you want to find out more, go to amsoil.com and check out their products. They got a lot of really, really great stuff.
Looking forward to checking that out, Boots. In addition, want to give a special shout out to some of the Sandbox route sponsors: the City of St. Clairsville, Belmont County Sheriff's Department, the St. Clairsville McDonald's, and the Ohio State Highway Patrol in St. Clairsville.
Oh my gosh, St. Clairsville was
I
amazing.
see.
It was like a Norman Rockwell painting. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so awesome there.
All right. So, news and events. Registration. I still see the numbers creeping up a little bit every time. And
bit.
we also received like a letter with someone asking, like, hey, is it too late to register in Ontario? No, no, it's not. You can absolutely register in Ontario. We just like to have everyone, register as early as possible if you know that you're going. But if you have to wait for whatever reason, we would love to have you. Come on, show up. Come on, California or whichever stop.
Yeah, you literally you can ride to Ontario the day before we leave and register on site. Very easy to do. Or if you're somewhere along the way, like in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and you want to join the run for a couple of days, or you want to go from Oklahoma to DC, you can show up at any one of the overnight stops, check out the map on RFTW.us. That's the official Run for the Wall website. And just come on, join us. Join us for one leg, one day, or all the way.
Boots already told you all how far we are away from Kickstands Up and when all the routes are leaving. So give us an update of some of the local events that are going on and some of the things popping up in May.
Yeah. So I got to clarify on the Marine Barracks. Last time I said you got to register. Let me talk a little bit about the Marine Barracks Friday evening parade when we get into Washington, D.C. It's an amazing event. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be on Friday, May 23rd at 8:45 to 10 p.m. And it's at the Marine Barracks in Washington, D.C. You're going to need to meet there at 7 p.m. And that's on the corner of 8th and I Street Southeast. And all of this information is on the Run for the Wall website, by the way. But, there's no charge. It's free to the general public, but you must make reservations. Okay. And for Run for the Wall riders, listen up. If you want to go to this Marine Barracks parade, you need to contact Mike Kaiser, road name Bonehead. I can tell you all about how he got that name. No, Bonehead's a great guy. He's a solid dude. I ran into him at the Combat Hero Bike Build giveaway, and he clarified that if you're a Run for the Wall rider, you need to contact Mike for your reservations. Don't go through the website. So Mike can be reached either through, his contact information is on the Run for the Wall website, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's mike.kaiser, Kyzer, at rftw.us, or give him a call, 602-703-8546, with your name and any guests that you have joining you. Again, that's for the Marine Barracks Friday evening parade on Friday, May 23rd, 8:45 to 10 p.m. Also, I want to talk about the Hogs and Heroes Foundation. The very next day, Saturday, May 24th, from 10 in the morning to 6 in the evening, Hogs and Heroes Foundation is sponsoring a bash at Old Glory Harley Davidson, and that's at 11800 Laurel Bowie Road in Laurel, Maryland. Check this out. Hitch is going to be there. Aren't you?
I'm planning to be there. Also, it's Bowie, but don't expect you to know that since you're not from here.
Nah, I don't know. I grew up on the beach in Southern California, and now I live in Arizona.
If you live in this area, it's Bowie. Don't ask me how.
Come on, give it
Bowie out of that.
Give a kid who grew up on the mean streets of Palos Verdes a break here. So Molly Hatchet's going to be playing. I didn't even know they were still around, but yeah, Molly Hatchet's going to be there. General admission is free. VIP tickets, $65 in advance, $75 at the gate. Let's show up there and support this. If you wanted to check it out on the internet, it's at eastcoastthunder.com. And there's going to be quite a few people from RFTW there. So check that out. Again, that is the Hogs and Heroes Foundation at Old Glory Harley Davidson in Bowie, Laurel Bowie Road in Laurel, Maryland. There you go. Come on.
Oh, all right. Man. All right.
Talk to us about hotels. I give up.
You're okay. If you haven't booked your hotel yet, now is the time before the block closes out to be able to make them at our discounted rate. If you're looking for roommates, I've seen a couple of Facebook posts and a couple of forum posts with people looking to share rooms across some of the routes. Hey, make those connections, see who's looking. You can definitely post it in the forum. I mean, Facebook's there for you as well. But there definitely are people looking to share rooms. But that blocked off rate will expire at the end of April.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Still some volunteer positions open. So if you want to volunteer, we've got the volunteer forums on the website. Check those out. We still have some, the board of directors position of treasurers open. That's really important, guys. So
come on.
We need someone to step up and fill that position, help guide Run for the Wall into the future. I wanted to mention real quickly about the motorcycle skills practice session in Ontario on Monday, May 12th in Lot D. There's going to be a morning session from 9 to noon, and then we'll do another afternoon session from 2 to 5. I'm going to be out there riding around. It's a great way to practice those skills. Also, we've got some certified instructors out there who are very, very good, not only at performing these drills, but also coaching riders on how to handle your bike at low speeds. So this is a really important thing, and it's free.
That is awesome.
Come check it out. Yeah. Midway's still looking for a couple of people for their leadership team, a sit rep rider and some medical team personnel. So again, if you're on the Midway route, you want to volunteer and step up, fill out one of those volunteer forms. It's on the Midway Route Hub on the website.
The itinerary booklet should be out for all the routes. So if you haven't taken a look at your itinerary yet, go ahead and do so. I know some of us have been on the run several times before, even if you've been once before, like things change, okay? So you may think you're going to one place, but it may have been rerouted for one reason or another. So just make sure you familiarize yourself with your route. And if you want a printed version, you may want to print that out before you come, right, Boots?
That's right, because we don't print them anymore.
All right. And then prepaid fuel. Is everybody up and running with that?
I want to talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's up and running with prepaid fuel. Sandbox is mandatory. Central Route is only $35. It's a heck of a deal. And I'm telling you, it's not mandatory on Central Route, but if you don't get your prepaid fuel sticker, you cannot fuel with a pack. You're going to have to pull off on your own and go to a regular old gas station and fuel up at the pump and pay with your card or cash or whatever you're going to do. But the only bikes that are going through the fuel line on Central Route are bikes with a fuel sticker. And it's $35. Even if you're just riding for a day, come on, pony up to $35. The extra money that if you don't use it for your own bike, it's going to go to help fuel the chase vehicles, which we really need. So that's prepaid fuel. I'll mention local meetups. I went to the Arizona meetup. We've got them in Arizona, Colorado, Northern California, Washington, D.C., all over the nation, Florida. Check it out on forum.rftw.us. That's the official Run for the Wall forum. If you want to start a meetup in your area, contact me. I'll help you get it started. And you can just reach me very easy at POD, that's pod, at rftw.us. Also a couple more things. We got on the forum, if you're coming from across the country and you want to go runs to the run or runs back home from the run, all that people looking to connect is all happening on forum.rftw.us. So check that out, connect with somebody you want to ride with, and there's lots of stuff going on there. Route communications, as you all know, if you've been following along, we don't use CB anymore. We use GMRS radio. You don't really need to have a GMRS radio unless you're in leadership. But if you wanted to listen in, it's kind of cool. And you can pick up your GMRS radio. We use the BTEC GMRS Pro. There's tons of information on this. Again, it's all on the forum, forum.rftw.us. And then now I get to make this
Oh
big
my
announcement.
goodness.
This is really, really cool. I was contacted from the website by a guy named Mike Castle. Mike Castle is an original 1989 Run for the Wall rider. He didn't go all the way in 89, but he was on the run in 89 for part of the way. And he contacted me, and he happens to own one of the original Harley Davidson motorcycles that went on the run in 89. The bike belonged at that time to Rod Coffey, road name Bungie. A lot of you guys know Bungie. Great guy. He's an original 89er. Well, Mike has his 1989 Harley Davidson FX STS that was ridden in the very first Run for the Wall, and it's for sale. This is a very rare opportunity if you're a collector or if you want to just buy this bike and have it. It's a great bike to ride. In fact, Mike prepped it. He was going to ride it this year on Run for the Wall all the way on the southern route and then take it on Sandbox. But he he bought a brand new Harley Davidson. He's going to ride that instead. But this bike, I've seen it. I have pictures. I'm going to post it on the website. So by the time this podcast drops, you'll be able to go on the website, General News and Events. I have a video of it. I have pictures. It's been totally refreshed. It has some original patina on it, but this thing is crazy, crazy great condition. And again, it's got a provenance of being one of the bikes that went on the first run. So check it out. It'll be on the website, and there's going to be contact information there. I don't want to say it over the podcast, but all that contact information will be on the website, as well as pictures and video and all that stuff. And it's a beautiful bike. So there you go. All
Okay,
right.
so we're going to move on to the why we ride. And I'm sure Boots has a bio prepared for us to share. But we just like to keep in mind that this is the reason why we do the run. This is the reason why we do the podcast. So who do we have for today?
Yeah, this is why we ride. Let me share my screen so that we can see a picture here. Hang on just a second. It takes me a second to get set up because we are flowing pretty fast here today. We're jamming. So why we ride is very, very important. We ride for those who can't, and we really want to take the time to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, so that their names aren't forgotten. And so you'll find on Run for the Wall that every morning we read bios of servicemen and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We say their names and we tell their stories so that we never forget, and we can pass this tradition on to generations to come. So today we remember Lance Corporal John Edward Bannister of Peoria, Illinois. John was born on July 7th, 1948. He served as a photographer in the United States Marine Corps. On April 14th, 1969, a U.S. Marine Corps helicopter from Marine Medium Helicopter Squadron 364 was on an emergency medevac mission in Quang Nam Province when it was shot down and crashed into heavy trees on the south side of Charlie Ridge. There wasn't a suitable landing zone to recover the wounded Marines, so 2 days later, on April 16th, 1969, that is the day that we will drop this podcast, April 16th. So on April 16th, 1969, a team of Marines was sent out to perform a hoist extraction to recover the Marines and the equipment. Lance Corporal Bannister went on the mission to photograph the activity. During the operation, the extraction team's Boeing CH-46 Sea Knight came under intense hostile enemy fire. Hits from enemy rounds caused a dual hydraulic boost failure. The pilot activated the explosive device to shear the hoist cable and attempted to auto-rotate into the valley below. The mountain's topography dropped off steeply and the helicopter fell, hitting nose up like a motorboat plowing through the trees. The aircraft exploded on impact. 3 crewmen were killed in the crash, including photographer Lance Corporal John E. Bannister. The co-pilot, crew chief, and the left gunner survived. Elements of Lima Country, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines made a grueling 4-kilometer trek to recover bodies and weapons the following day. John is buried at St. Joseph Cemetery in Peoria, Illinois. His name is honored on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, panel 27 West, line 92. Lance Corporal John Edward Bannister, you are not forgotten. Your memory and sacrifice on behalf of our beloved country lives on in our thoughts and our hearts. You will always be remembered whenever we stand and sing the words, land of the free and home of the brave. It is not the worst thing to die in war. It is not the worst thing to be missing in war. The worst thing is to be forgotten in war. Say their names, tell their stories, never forget.
Lance Corporal John and I are birthday twins.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even catch that.
We are. Thank you for sharing that bio with us today. All right, so customs and traditions. I thought that it would be a good idea to talk about the plaques that we give out on the run.
Yeah.
Because I know
that's been a
because we've been talking about it a lot with the board of directors, which is why I came up with that.
That's right. You know, being on the board of directors, we spend a lot of time in meetings, and I would say maybe a third of the time is spent talking about plaques. We have so many supporters. We're not laughing to make fun of it. We're laughing because we spend so much time talking about plaques. But we have so many supporters who come out and support Run for the Wall. Cities, police departments, Kiwanis clubs, Rotary, Elks, Moose, VFWs, American Legion. The list goes on and on and on. And one of the things that we do to express our gratitude is to present them with plaques. And this is done at almost every major stop, not really gas stops, but lunch stops, dinner stops, presentations, breakouts along the run on all 4 of the routes. And it's a very important thing. And I just wanted to point out that when you do stop for lunch on any route at any stop, pay attention to what's going on. Watch that route coordinator, assistant route coordinator, maybe some of the leadership team. And you know, even if you're in leadership, if you're a platoon leader, an APL, staging, fuel, road guards, you know I'm talking to you. Get on over there and support them when they're handing out these plaques, because we want to show these people and support them and let them know how much we appreciate them. Not just the route coordinator handing it out, but let's get some of the other Run for the Wall people over there showing our appreciation. And, you know, that's making those plaques, buying those plaques, hauling those plaques from one side of the country to the other. It's a pretty big effort that goes into them. So that's our tradition.
It is.
Those are the plaques. They're pretty cool too.
Yep.
Check them out.
And I'm hoping I should have space to help with hauling those. So on Central.
But you're going to be hauling all my stuff, aren't you? I'm kidding.
Fine.
I'm kidding. No, everything's going in amber whiskey behind me. Oh, we're good.
All right. Do you want to like formally introduce our guests?
Let's let them introduce themselves, because we've been talking too much. Let's hear from them. So Jim, Gwyn, let's hear what you got. Tell us about who you are, what you're doing, what you're up to.
Good question. First of all, let's back up 30 seconds. As far as lunch and fuel and all of that.
Yep.
Let's talk about the staging crew. They'll always get to lunch after you do. They will leave before you do. If they have a green hat, let them cut line for lunch. That's my word after being in staging for 3 times. Okay.
All right.
So some people cut in it's because they have jobs to do and get back to it. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So Jim, tell us a little bit about you and what's going on.
I'll give you the much abbreviated version. Basically, we started the run in 2004. I was working as accounting manager for for Pomona Valley Harley, and a guy by the name of Jim Braga, who was California State Coordinator at the time, came into the dealership looking for free stuff. And that's what state coordinators do all the way across the country, trying to find things for raffles and giveaway and such. So
Yep.
that's the first idea about Run for the Wall. So as a result of that, I got to know Jim pretty well. So in 2004 was my FNG year. I went all the way to Ehrenberg, Arizona for lunch and went back to work that afternoon. So my first run was about 200 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, most of my runs have been 3 days no wake up. Because I live in Southern California, I live about 30 miles from the start in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always time and money for the run. So it's usually to be able to take off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, go back to work on Tuesday. And I did that for a lot of years. So I've only been all the way, I think, 9, something like that.
That's right. I counted it.
Yeah, in all these years, I've been all the way 9 times. Otherwise, as you said, do what you can. Go out for a leg or two and enjoy what it's all about. And that's a very short version of it.
So you said back then you were working for Pomona Valley Harley Davidson?
Pomona Valley Harley.
Yeah. They were big supporters
Yep.
of ours. They're no longer there. Tell what happened to Pomona Valley.
What happened was COVID, and my understanding, the inability to get product from the motor company.
Oh yeah, during the supply line crisis of
A lot
COVID.
of folks were struggling. So I think it was December of 2020, they just had to close the door to move on.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. They were really supportive and nice.
Yeah.
Like I used to ship my victory to them. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they'd be like, "Yeah, no problem." I'm like, "How much?" They're like, "0." Like,
I'll give you a shout out to Pomona Valley Harley, among other
So-
things. Basically, when Jim came in, Pomona Valley was open or closed rather on Sunday and Monday. That first year, I found out there were 6 motorcycles on Tuesday morning waiting for the dealership to open. They get oil changes or repairs in order to be on the run on Wednesday morning.
Yep.
So the year after that, they started opening on Sunday for hourly mechanics for people that came in basically on emergency repairs. The year after that, they would start taking reservations. The year after that, they had a full staff on Sunday, mechanics and motor clothes. And it finally came up to where they were open 7 days a week for Run for the Wall. So they would make sure that
So, Boots,
Well,
I have a quick
still
question.
remember one-
Oh, never mind.
one
Go
rider
ahead, Jim.
and across most of the country, rode into the starting and wind up with a flat tire. And that happens. There are emergencies cross country, and dealerships will open their doors for you and do what they can.
Yep.
Question.
Yeah.
Question.
Wait, my question?
Go ahead, Hitch.
So, Boots,
Yeah.
you pointed out the fact that Jim worked at Pomona Valley Harley Davidson. What you didn't point out
Yeah.
was the fact that he was the accounting manager. So it seems to me like we have someone who could apply for the treasurer's position. But I'm just
Oh my goodness, I missed that.
We had a little bit to do with it.
just saying.
But after that, the next year, my wife made me buy a Harley.
Oh.
Oh, she made you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, here's that part of it. I said we'd been married 30 years by then, and I said, okay, you either know you're going to have a Harley and you embrace it, or you become a widow to the Harley Davidson. So here I am. I embraced it, and 30 years ago, well, 20 years ago, we got started in this.
Now, Gwen, you ride on the back. You don't ride your own bike?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I'm learning to ride the Can-Am.
Oh, good. That's great.
Yeah, it's more of a safety thing in case something happens. I need to be able to, get us. I don't have any desire to ride a 2-wheeler. No, thank you. But
Well, I'm a
Yeah.
Vietnam vet, and you're finding out that a road glide, a Harley, was a lot heavier than it was when I bought it.
Uh-huh.
So we went to 3-wheel, and that extended my ability to ride on Run for the Wall, probably about 4 or 5 years by the time we're done.
That's fantastic. That's really great. So what branch of service were you in, Jim?
Man, good question.
What type of service?
What branch?
I was Air
Okay.
Force.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly, just short of 4 years. The first year, I was loading nuclear weapons on B-52s in Beale Air Force Base. In the Cold War, I left there for the hot war for 26 months in Vietnam, fixing weapons release and air and gunnery system malfunction.
And what years were you in country?
From August of 67 to November of 69. 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, including all of 1968. And those were interesting times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, welcome home.
So you mentioned that you were staging. What other jobs have you had with Run for the Wall?
Other than California State Coordinator for
Mhm.
3 years. Short version, at that time, there were only 2 routes, both southern and central. And the state coordinator was responsible for both routes, everything from start to finish: hotels, meeting rooms, lunches, gas stops. Anyway, I escorted Jim a few times testing the run from Ontario to Needles to Blythe and then back home. So his checkout was all day long. So that's changed considerably since then. My first all the way was assistant route coordinator on southern routes. Excuse me, central routes.
Okay.
All the way to DC.
2010.
Yeah, that was in 2010. I was staging lead for the inaugural Midway. That was exciting to be a first time.
Oh yeah, I'll bet.
The staging lead for family medical reasons held out in about November of 13 rather. By the time we got done, I had a book of emails probably an inch thick because nobody knew anything, and that was an interesting time. So staging lead then, and Gwen and I have been on staging a couple of times. I've been tail gunner 2 or 3 times, including sandbox. Well, we went. Basically all the way. Midway sandbox to tail gunner. She and I were staging a couple of times, and last time around it was outreach.
Oh, nice.
All the way on Midway. Excuse me, outreach was Central again. I've been on all 3
Nice.
routes.
That's great. So you're going to do southern route this year?
Yeah.
That's the only all the way Gwen has not gone.
Oh, awesome.
So we're taking southern. We have a daughter in Dayton, Ohio, so we're going to take southern and then take half of sandbox. Flight 93. Daughter lives in Dayton, Ohio, so we're going to stop there for Memorial Day. And right now we're still working on it. We're going to head north up through both parts of Michigan, and then west we've got a station, get out station with at Benoit and Bemidji, Minnesota. And then we're headed west either through the northern United States or southern Canada. We haven't worked that out yet. Until we get to the corner of Washington, and then take the Pacific coast all the way down, Washington, Oregon, and California. So
oh, great.
That's going to be a long run.
It is.
And what position are you going to take on southern route?
What was that again?
What are you serving on a role, a leadership position on southern route this year?
Yeah, just very recently we're taking honor. We'll be in charge of honor guard all the way.
Honor guard. Tell us about honor guard. What do you do as an honor guard?
And most of the spots will be honoring organizations or events or activities, setting wreaths, at various parts, including, interestingly enough, a Confederate cemetery will be setting a wreath in honor of those men and women that served in that war. I'll be setting a wreath at the D-Day Memorial. We'll be doing that in several areas, national parks. Las Cruces is an outstanding city park. If you've ever been there, the memorials of all wars. A recent one to the Women's Memorial in Las Cruces, and also one for the Bataan Death March. There's a memorial there, including footprints in the concrete of that memorial of Death March survivors that lived in Las Cruces. And that's up in the corner of the park that most people don't get to see. That happens all the way across the country.
But we also will be inviting some members of each platoon at a different day to join us. So it's not just Jim and I doing this. It's up to 10, some of them up to more. There's one of the days that the whole Vietnam platoon will go. We're still learning, but each platoon will have a chance to send some of their riders. And Navy is represented, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, all the branches are represented when the honor guard is done. So it's not just Jim and I, it's the whole, everybody being involved. And if you're a Navy vet, you might want to join us on one of the days. This is Southern Route only, but
Yep.
You might want to join us on one of the days. So
at each stop, there will usually be an honor guard and a presentation.
Fantastic.
With all of the riders.
That's great.
So spanning the 20 years, who has birds? Is that at your house, Boots? I hear birds.
Birds?
Yeah.
Is it me?
I can't hear them.
Yeah.
It's me. I have my shop doors open here because it's warm here in Arizona. But yeah, it's birds.
I was
it's
like,
me.
who
Sorry.
has birds? They are loud.
I couldn't hear them because I have my headphones on. I hear them now.
They
that
are
I'm
a
listening.
paid actor in today's episode. Let me tell you. But no,
I'll tell you what I do here is there's someone out here, because outside my shop, there's people out in the street out there doing something. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't hear them.
Anyways, back to the topic at hand.
You've been at this for 20 years, and I'm just curious to know how you all prepare yourselves physically and emotionally.
Well, can I jump into something else? It's always been a family event. So Jim started in 2005, 04. And the next year, our son, he had a brand new motorcycle. Jim had his brand new motorcycle, and they rode together. That was when Todd was in his middle 20s. He's now in his 40s. And it's always been a family work together. The years Jim was coordinator, Becky, our daughter, did the computer work with him and for him because we were both working and had kids in college and at the time. So it's always been something we've done together. And I guess I'm just kind of the support behind the scenes, do what I can. Stayed home many years and worked just so we could send him off to do what he should do as a veteran.
Let's go back to 05 for just a minute. That's when my son Todd and I went. We made a U-turn there in Wickenburg. Just past the border into Colorado, and then headed west. But Todd kind of knew what the run was all about. He wasn't real sure. You've probably all been to the Memorial and Angel Fire. Todd at age, that was a long time ago.
24.
He walked into the memorial, the chapel in Angel Fire, and he broke down. That's the first time he understood what this was all about. Fortunately, there's a road guard there, and there's a road guard or a chaplain everywhere on the run. If anybody needs help or the kind of support my son had, or my son needed,
Yeah.
that's when he understood why we do this.
And so making that full circle and the emotional impact that Angel Fire had on him, how do you all prepare emotionally for the run?
You don't. Just have to keep an open mind and
Mhm.
accept it and not be afraid to show your
Mhm.
emotions. Angel Fire, same place 2 or 3 years later. The same thing happened to a Vietnam era Marine.
Yeah.
And you just have to be accepting and be there for others. We always said the FNG run is for you, the rest are for somebody else. So it's still for everybody. You just have to be receptive to those that, and it'll happen after 50 years.
Yeah.
Where men or women never really understood that the country appreciated what they did.
Well, as far as
And that was one of the main things that came from Vietnam, the ability to separate the war from the warrior. And that wasn't the case in Vietnam.
Yeah.
personally, as a family, how do we prepare? We decide pretty much right after the run if we're going to go again all the way. This is the 4th time in a row we've said we won't go all the way next year. So here we are. This is our 5th year going all the way. But we decide which run. This year it was Southern because I'd never been all the way
Right.
on Southern. That makes him having been all the way on all 3 routes twice or more. But we start deciding, okay, get the map out, start looking at the maps from last year. So maps come into it, which route, how we're going, how we're going to head home, which is only a secondary
Mhm.
part of it. Then we start figuring out who's going to be here for the cat. And those little, this is silly, but those are the things you got to
It's a
know.
big
Who's
thing.
going to be
Yeah.
there for your cat, your dog.
Yeah, it is.
This year we'll get to see our daughter who's in Ohio. So we'll, as Jim said, I won't reiterate that, I'm hoping the grandboys will come and see us off in California because they live 10 minutes from the send off.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as physically, we're both trying to drink our water, as we all say, drink your water. Try to drink your water. Yeah. Try to, we've been also riding our stationary bike.
Okay.
And that's, for me, that's kind of, we just need to physically be a little better. And then now we're going to take the next few days, like today, as soon as we're done, we're going to head out on the Can-Am and go get a little ride in. Probably spend out tomorrow. So those are some of the ways we prepare, which are more personal, but how do you get ready? You just get your head ready.
Yeah.
Back to preparation, though. Son and I started to make up a checklist for our first run. And we had hundreds of items, put in everything. Then we figured out what obviously we wouldn't take. And ultimately, when we got back, we took the same checklist. What did we do? What did we use? What didn't we? What should we throw away?
Yeah, I do that every year.
Yeah, every year. One of the things I took was a Harley Davidson. This is a special Harley Davidson repair. Everybody should have one. It's a toilet tube with a roll of duct tape and iron wire.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody should have one of these. Roll it up, throw it in the bottom of your bag, and hope you never use it. This is repaired to shift gear on a Harley, and with tape, something that was falling off the bike. Everybody needs a Harley repair kit.
I could not. Why do y'all talk so bad about your bikes?
No, that's actually going to go hand in hand with my tech tip today. So
Yeah.
that's good. I'm glad you brought that up,
God.
Jim.
On the bottom of your bag, and hope you never see it again.
I have a few tips. Is this the right
Sure,
time
go
for it?
for it.
Yeah, sure. Bring it.
So as our seniority approached, more medicines came our way, especially for him. I take 2. So one year
No, I'm perfect.
one year I said, what can we do that's small? Take your medicines in a small way that's easy. So we set up these little bags. It's a jeweler size. Where is it? Can you see it? There.
Yeah, I see it.
This
Sure.
has got medicine in it, but basically it's the size I'm showing you. It's a jeweler size bag, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. And what I did is set up, it says the first day was Wednesday and it was an AM or a PM bag.
Okay.
And then everything went into another Ziploc bag. So he had it. I didn't go that year, but that helped him to be able to.
Yeah, either that or one of these.
And those take up space. So we were looking for something that didn't take a lot of space.
And you know, I'm glad you brought that up because I've been thinking like, man, how am I going to pack 10 days? Well, actually longer than that, 17 days of AM and PM medication. So that's a good tip.
It's actually an excellent tip because for those of you who do take meds daily, make sure when you leave, you've got not only enough for the run, but just in case you get delayed a couple of days due to weather or mechanical or physical issues, you want to have a little bit extra. You don't want to be caught out if you need your meds. It's an important thing.
Yeah, excellent. We take pictures of our bottles and keep them in our camera.
Great
in
idea.
Our phone.
Great idea.
Or put them in our pack too. We take pictures of it and put it in the tag thing we carry around us. He's got too many to take pictures of. But it's keeping him going at 81 years old. So that's our medicine tip.
I like it.
Excellent. So now I have to ask, what is your favorite experience on Run for the Wall?
Especially from people who've been on all the routes.
Yeah. What stands out?
Favorite experience? It depends on the year.
Just pick one that stands out.
I think it was in Holbrook, the lunch stop, and they don't even stop for lunch there anymore.
Oh, we do. Central Route stops in Holbrook for lunch.
That's the first time I really sat in what communities do for us. To lunch there, men and women serving, their children, their grandchildren serving, high school kids walking up asking how they can help. Do you need more something to drink? That's the first time it really set in what effect Run has nationwide, with literally thousands of people that are there, and they'll be starting June and July. They'll be getting ready for next year. That's my first thing. I really felt the impact of what we're doing for people as we cross the country.
Yeah. Well, for me, the Angel Fire is always awesome if you've never been there. And just forgot. So anyway, my brain. Yeah, the parks, the things that show what yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
There's too many of them.
Yeah, but you mentioned Angel Fire, and Angel Fire is a very special place. That's on the Central Route for those of you who are listening. We pull in there on day 3, and there's a tremendous memorial set up there. They've got a Huey that's on a pedestal. They've got a chapel. They have a Vietnam museum. And it's just a very special place, beautiful scenery, very solemn. And Run for the Wall gathers there. The Central Route has a reunion there every Labor Day weekend, and we lay bricks to honor those who have fallen. and there's quite a few up there. It's something that you got to see. And I'll tell you, from being on the Central Route or route, Nick, Central Route, well, on my FNG year, when we got to Angel Fire, you really, really knew you were on Run for the Wall at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got to agree with you. That's amazing. And then Holbrook, Arizona, also, Jim, great stop. And the children who come out, they're high school, middle school kids. They have a band. They play 60s music. They do a pretty darn good job. So I'm always impressed. You know, I'm an amateur musician. I play guitar, but when I see someone playing, I can tell that they put a lot of time and effort, practice into it, and they do an outstanding job. And they've learned all of the popular 60s songs, so it's pretty cool.
The other one
and Boots, that's a tribute to the state coordinator.
Yes.
Holbrook, you went straight to lunch, bypassed all of the school, and then suddenly there was a bypass, and they were at the gates watching you. And that's become something that we should have envisioned much earlier, but didn't.
Yeah.
The other one, and this really isn't on the run, but it's been on the run twice for us, is Missouri, the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Missouri, Prairieville, Missouri. If you've never been there, it's just awesome. And on Heartland Heroes was when we got there the first time, which was 2021, the non-Run for the Wall Heartland Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of years we've come back through there. And last year on Central, it was a
breakout.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll do that again this year to go to Perryville. There will be a breakout that goes down there.
Yeah, it's just awesome. And it means so much to these Vietnam veterans. Well, all veterans, but the Vietnam veterans, it means so much to them.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So tell us about your road names. What are they? How'd you get them?
You or me?
Oh my goodness.
Well, mine was called somewhat automatically. I was the first mayor of the city of Rancho Cucamonga in November of '77. So the mayor, just one of those titles that stays with you forever.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool fact.
So I was the first mayor of a city at 33 years old.
And
I understand. That's when I found out that young people run the country. I thought I was pretty young, but I was in good company.
And first lady, I was the first lady of the first mayor of Rancho Cucamonga. And you know, it's all, take Rancho Cucamonga or take Run for the Wall. The support behind the job. He supports me in many jobs I have too, like church things. So it's that support. But that's how I got the first lady name. And I kind of chose it because I think it's important. But his first name for about 5 days was Quiet Man.
Quiet Man.
Because he went on, like he was saying, is they used to get on their motorcycles and ride for a day to Needles around. And they stayed in Laughlin. And he came home from that with the 5 guys he was with, tagged him as Quiet Man. And within 5 days, then they realized he'd been mayor and all he was setting up. So that's where the mayor came in. But
that's great.
so that's how we got our name.
Wow, I did not know that you were the mayor of Rancho Cucamonga.
Mayor.
That's amazing.
Cool.
Lots of history there. We aren't in Rancho Cucamonga, but our son is in the house that was built by his grandfather in 1905 in Rancho Cucamonga. So we aren't going to get off a Run for the Wall for that.
No, we did have an advantage to help the city out because early on we moved the starting point for Run for the Wall from TAA Truck Stop. The run just got too big for it.
Yep.
And we'll talk about how the run was scheduled for that. So it was moved up to the city of Rancho Cucamonga. So, and of course, pretty well knew the police department, so it was easy getting police services. Anyway, it was a good move.
Well, thanks for sharing that information with us.
Yeah, we moved the starting point for the run, and we also set up the Spotlight 29 Casino. That was one of the things we were able to do on Southern Run. That worked out being very well. And that's oddly enough, I had trouble getting the casino set up, but found out that the guy in charge of security also worked for the 66 casino on Southern Run. So because the casino knew who and what Run for the Wall was. And because of the reputation the run had, it was easy to set up, and we'll be there forever.
And it's really cool being able to hear a lot of the history from people who've been around the run for so many years. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's very cool. It's
We've
very,
been at
very
every
cool.
start. I've been at every start. He's gone somewhere on every one for 21 years. We'll keep on going.
I love it.
Good. That's great.
All right, Boots,
All
are you
right.
ready to do some
Yeah.
tech tips with Ted?
I am
All right,
ready.
what do we have for today?
Let's do it. Tech tips with Ted. So, since we are about a month out, I wanted to talk about bike prep. I know I've mentioned it before, but I wanted to be fresh in everybody's mind. So, bike prep is really, really important. Excuse me. You don't want to have a mechanical, you don't want to have a tire issue on the run. You don't want parts falling off your bike, the duct tape and baling wire. So check your tires, check your tire pressure. Tires lose air. They just do. So they'll lose about 2 pounds a week on average, but also check your tires. Even if there's tread left, they could be old and hard and dry, and they don't work when they get like that. So tires are cheap when you consider how expensive it is to repair your bike when you go down because you got lousy tires. Tighten those nuts and bolts, especially for your controls, saddlebags, tour packs, fluid drain plugs. Make sure they're all torqued to spec. And then also ergonomics of your controls. So many times I get on motorcycles, I got to move somebody's bike, or somebody says, hey, will you ride my bike and see how it feels? Or even used bikes at dealerships. I get on those bikes and the controls they're not aligned, or your wrists are up or your wrists are down, or the shifter's not in the right spot. You can adjust all that stuff. Adjust it so it fits you. Ergonomics are really important, but tightening nuts and bolts, a little bit of Loctite goes a long way. On most nuts and bolts, you want to use blue Loctite, which is in the red tube. I know, and the red Loctite is in the blue tube. Please, if somebody can explain that to me from Loctite, I'd love to hear it. But use blue Loctite. The red stuff, you got to heat to get off. Don't use that stuff. Use Loctite number 242. You can get it at Walmart, Walgreens, Ace Hardware, True Value, anywhere, Home Depot, Lowe's. A little Loctite, a drop on a bolt goes a long way. And I've seen bolts come off of Gold Wings, guys. Don't give me that. BMWs too. I worked at a BMW dealership for 6 years. I know bolts fall off of every bike, not just Harleys. Make sure they're torqued to spec. Use a little Loctite. Check your brake pads.
Add on to that, Boots.
Yeah. When was the last time you checked your brake pads?
Harley unscrewed one of the screws in my glasses, and I had to Loctite it.
There you go. I Loctite the screws on my glasses too. But onto your brake pads, if they're thin, if you've got less than 50% left on your brake pads and you're leaving for Run for the Wall, replace them. Come on, they're $30 a set. Check everything. Make sure your horn works, your lights work, your high beams, your brake lights, your flashers. And then here's the big one, really big. When you come to check in for Run for the Wall, you need 3 things, okay? You need your driver's license with a motorcycle validation if you're riding a 2-wheeler, and make sure your driver's license hasn't expired. I see lots of people every year who get in line and they present their license to the check-in team and they say, your license is expired. And they're like, huh? Pull your wallet out right now and make sure your driver's license is not expired. You also need your vehicle registration. Make sure that's not expired. That almost happened to me one year. And then your insurance card. And again, make sure it's not expired. So when you check in, you need your driver's license, vehicle registration, and insurance. And the last thing I'm going to say today, and this is a great one because we're going on Run for the Wall, and sometimes you're not parking on asphalt or concrete. Sometimes you're parking in the dirt. Sometimes, especially in Washington, D.C., when we go to the wall, you may be parking in grass. So you need one of these little kickstand pucks, okay? They're little plastic ones. This one says Ducati. This one says Kawasaki. Here's the Harley Davidson one. You can get those at a dealership. I don't know. I think they're $5. Sometimes they'll give them away. But you can't keep that in your saddlebag and throw it down on the ground, and that will keep your bike from sinking into warm asphalt, because that can happen, or into mud, dirt, grass, whatever. And then here's the pro tip. Yeah. The pro tip, and this is a freshie. I've never even used this one. It says Ducati on it. I've got lots of bikes. You tie something onto it. This is just a shoelace, so that when you throw it on the ground, so many times I'll come into a parking lot and I'll see a bunch of these on the ground because guys forget them. So if you tie a shoelace onto it, and then I have one of these little things that says remove before flight. Okay, there we go.
We just hung one up on the wall.
There we go. Remove before flight. You put this around your handlebar. That way, when you lift your bike off the stand, you don't have to reach down and pick it up. You just grab it. You throw it into your saddlebag or your shirt or your pocket. You're off and running. So that is tech tips from Ted for today.
Thank you.
We just hung up one of those from Vietnam on our wall.
Oh, the remove before flight?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's great.
The real one from Vietnam that he brought home.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just one I bought. I love these things.
I like that. Well, I want to just say one other thing. I pray on the back of the bike. I sit there and I say Hail Marys and Our Fathers along the way for everybody on the ride, for everybody to keep us all safe. So that's one of my big things. Nobody knows it, and you don't have to know it, but I do. I pray lots of Hail Marys and lots of Our Father.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
We do have a listener letter, and I'll go ahead and read that one. My name is Robert J. Triplett Sr. of Mount Olive, Illinois. I used to drive a customized PT Cruiser dedicated to a POW, Colonel Charles E. Sheldon, born 4/29/65, LAOS. American flag with POW on the hood and Colonel Shelton's incident date. It could be reviewed at YouTube, POW special, and then we do have the link. Do you folks have any videos of the run we did in 2008? I was invited the day the run left from San Bernardino. My wife and I went to see them off and was not expected to get asked, and we took off with them. No money, no clothes, not even a toothbrush. They took up a collection at every stop so we could go. Love those people. That was a hard time in our lives as we had just lost our home and were about to become homeless. The people on that run affected my wife and I a great deal. My wife has medical issues she is fighting now, and I am about to get the long face from my doctor, so to speak. And I wanted to put a smile on her face and maybe help to forget the pain she has every day. I'm sorry to bother you with this. I just wanted to make her smile. Peace, Semper Fi.
Yeah, so we wanted to just put a note out there to anybody who may have some video from Run for the Wall 2008 of that PT Cruiser. If you could, let us know, and you could get that to us at pod at rftw.us. That's pod at rftw.us. We'd love to, if somebody's got some video of that or a picture or anything, we'd love to get that over to Robert and his wife, make their day.
Even if you were there and you would like to connect with them, it would be nice. I'm sure they would love to connect with some of the same people who are major players in their lives during that time. So that would be great.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Gwen?
Did they say if they went on Southern or?
It's not specified. It just says 2008. So yeah, I was hoping that would pop up. All right. Does anyone have anything else for today's episode? Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right.
Sounds
So for
good.
more information on Run for the Wall, you can visit us on our website at www.rftw.us.
Yeah. And if you wanted to send us a letter, share something with us, any kind of topics you want to hear, or maybe you have a bio of a soldier that you'd like us to read, let us know. Any questions, anything like that, and email it to us, POD, that's pod, at rftw.us.
All right. So until next time, how far are we going?
All the way. That's right. See y'all.